All right, we're working with adding and subtracting using party or war. This is my personal favorite way to work with adding and subtracting integers, simply because you don't have to use a number line, you don't have to draw counters. This works with big numbers, it works with small numbers, and it uses something we're familiar with, party or war, like two sides against each other, to help us solve this problem. So it takes something that can be kind of abstract and makes it a little bit more concrete, leaning on some things we're already familiar with. All right, so here's how it works. You're welcome to use a pencil. I am going to use a marker so that it'll show up better on the video so you can see it. But again, every single problem starts the same way. No matter if you're using counters or number lines or party or war, we start with our magic Harry Potter wand of a finger and identify if we're working with a positive or a negative number, and then we'll see our next steps. All right, so positive or negative 9? It's a negative. Positive or negative 3? It's a positive. All right, our question to ask, and it's all written down here, but eventually these will be things that just become really quick thinking in your brain. Question to ask, is it a party or a war? Well, we have two opposing forces. We have negatives versus positives, like McCallum versus Anderson, like Lamar versus Murchison. They're two opposing teams. Chelsea versus Man City. Two opposing teams, so we are at war. So we can get rid of party because we're not worried about that. It's a war. Now, who would win this war? The positives or the negatives? Essentially, which team has more people on their team? In this case, our negative team has more people on it. So assumption is if you have more people, you're the one that's going to win. Yes, in real life, that's not always the case, but let's just pretend like it is while we're doing party or war with our integers. So we have a war because it's positive versus negative, two opposing teams. If it's a war, we ask ourselves, well, who is going to win? Who has more people on their team? The negatives have more people on their team. How many more do they have? Well, the negative team has 9. The positive team has 3, so take away 3. What are you left with? 6. So their answer is negative 6. Right? Why is our answer negative 6? Because we determined that our negatives are going to win the war and they have 6 more on their team. So if we were doing this with counters, we would have marked through a few 0 pairs and would have been left with negative 6. Okay, let's take a peek at our next one. Same start though. Positive or negative 8? Negative. Positive or negative 3? Ooh, I love this one. We have two negatives coming together to make a positive. All right, do we have a party or a war? We have a war because it's two opposing teams, so we can get rid of this party business. Now, who would win this war? Who has more people on their team, the positives or the negatives? The negatives have more on their team. How many more do they have? Well, they have 5 more. 8 minus 3 is 5. So our answer is negative 5. Our next one is 4 minus 5. Now, I bet you guys are already able to figure that out. It's a pretty little one, but let's go through our same process. We have a positive 4. The subtraction sign is the same as the negative sign, so we have a negative. So we ask ourselves, is this a party or a war? It's a war because we have two opposing teams. So we can get rid of this party business. Who would win this war? The positives or the negatives? The negatives would win because they have more on their team. How many more do they have? They have 1 more. Right? The negatives have 5, the positives have 1. So our answer would be negative 1. All right, let's take a peek at the ones down below. Same start though. Take your finger, cover up everything except the first number. We've got a negative 6. We have a plus negative 2. So we have a negative 2. Questions to ask. Do we have a party or a war? Well, they're the same thing, so we've got a party. And get rid of this war business. All right, we're just gonna talk through the questions for a party. So what happens at a party? All right, so if you're having a birthday party at your house, you've got your family there, but you have hopefully were able to invite some people over. So what happens at a party? People come together, right? Your family's at your house, the doorbell rings, and more people are coming together. So if you are grilling in the backyard to know how many like hot dogs or tofu burgers you're making for everybody, you are going to have to total everything up, count everybody, include everybody. So let's talk about these questions a little bit more. What happens at a party? We have two groups of people coming together. In this case, who's getting together? Our negatives are getting together. And how many are getting together? Well, we had 6 already at our house, and then 2 more joined us. So we have 8 total. So our answer is -8. Right? We had a party because they are the same. They're both negatives. What happens at a party? Groups of people are coming together. Who's getting together? Our negatives are having a party and getting together. How many? Well, we have to total them up. We have 6 already at our house. The doorbell rang. 2 more people showed up. So now we have a total of 8 negatives at our party. All right, let's try it with a new example. Cover that number up. We've got a -7. We've got a -4 because the negative sign and the subtraction sign are the same. Questions to ask. All right, do we have a party or war? We have a party because we have 2 of the same thing, so we can get rid of that war. What happens at a party? People are coming together. Who's getting together? The negatives are. And how many people are getting together? So we already have 7, 4 more joined us. We've got a total of -11. All right, so when we have a party, we're adding up who's coming, who's already there, who's at the door and coming into the party. When we have a war, right, we're subtracting and getting rid of people. All right, let's see. Cover up that number. We've got a -2. We've got a +6. Party or war? We have a war because there are 2 opposing teams. Who would win the war? Who has more people on their team? Our positives have more people. How many more? 4. So our answer is +4. All right, there we go. Party or war? It's a war if we have opposing teams. We're going to choose the team that has the most people on their team, and then we're going to subtract to get our final answer. If it's a party, we have 2 teams of the same background, right? Negative and negative or positive and positive. And what happens at a party? We're coming together. So if it's a party, we're going to keep our sign and just total everyone up, add them up, and see how many of those positives or negatives we actually have at our party. All right, it's your choice on what you would like to use for adding and subtracting integers, using party or war, number lines, or counters. All right, there we go. This one is my personal favorite. It works with big numbers and small numbers.